Hello, beautiful people, beautiful women. It's this time of the day again, 7 p.m., and we are up for the bra experience. Listen, if you're joining, come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining, let me know you're here. Send me, I see someone's already watching, but I can't see who it is yet. So come on in, let me know, because today I've got something special lined up. Now listen, the reason why first of all, for yesterday, about the 3 bubbles of identity, I saw you, Barbara, I saw you, Nikki, I saw you, Francine, I think. You're all, Evie from Bakersfield. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So many of you have given examples have given the 3 bubbles of your identity, which I really, really loved. The reason why I created the bra experience is because I've been working from the moment I went into the workplace. I was in a male environment. I did administration in forklift companies before I started selling. I did administration in construction companies. So it was all predominantly men. And when I started, hello, let me know you're here. I see Facebook user, but I cannot see all the time who's your name. So let me know your name, where you're coming in from. I'm so happy and excited because today I've got something crazy. So the reason why I created this bra experience is because throughout all the years that I've been working in predominantly male environments, I saw something that I sometimes don't see amongst us women. And that is something that men do. And now I'm not a man, but I know a lot of men. And so I had, Tina Boone, yay, she's here. Karen from Atlanta, hi, welcome, welcome, nice to see you all. So I brought in a man that will shine a light on what I call the locker room syndrome. And we will have a discussion. Let me first introduce to you my good friend, my brother, and my servant leader, Mr. Bert Wright.
Hey. What's going on, Yasmina?
Bert, I'm so happy you are here. It's such a joy. I mean, some of the women will go like, this is a bra experience. What's a man doing here?
Well, I was tempted to bring my bra out, but I decided I don't want to wear it on camera today. My wife might start asking questions.
Exactly. I wanted you to come into the conversation because I believe we as women, we can learn something from this man locker syndrome. And what I call is like you go out for a football game, you go into the shower. That's what I'm imagining. I've never been in a locker room with men, right? You're standing there with your towels or naked, and one guy goes like, I want to be introduced to the CEO of that company. And the other goes like, no problem, I will introduce you. I think that's, in my imagination at least, that's what's happening in the locker room, right? And that's something that I haven't experienced a lot with the women. So I want to bring that insights, those knowledge and all these kind of things, what's happening in the locker room. And that's why I invited you to have this conversation. So thank you so much for joining me, Bert.
My pleasure. Well, Yasmina, thank you for having me on your show today. And ladies, I appreciate you chiming in, supporting my friend, my sister, Yasmina. Anything I can share, please type in the comments, any questions you may have. Obviously, let us know. I want to welcome to share my insight as a man regarding the locker room experience. And I think we want to start first, Yasmina, with explain what is the locker room experience, right? Because I get what you're saying, but I think, the locker room experience is not necessarily a physical location of like being in an actual locker room. The idea is that it is a space or an energy really where that men have a certain level of camaraderie. I'm saying it's a place where men have.
Yes. That's the word I've been looking for weeks now.
Yes.
Camaraderie. Yes.
I mean, camaraderie where in many ways, their levels, their positions in life, their positions in a personal professional life doesn't even matter anymore. It really comes down, they just get together really just to hang out. I mean, it sounds funny to say, but just to hang out, just fellowship, just talk about anything from personal life, professional life, business life, spiritual life. And in doing so, that's how they get to know each other in many ways as men. Sometimes men get to know each other through playing sports, through working out together, through playing golf. Golf's often seems one place where you see a lot of men will fellowship for hours on end, and then you never realize that your golfing partner really has a very particular, professional connections you may need with her, right? So I think that's when you're talking about the locker room experience there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really is that level of camaraderie where
Exactly.
all the statuses come on down, and we just be who we are in many ways.
Exactly. So first of all, a lot of people are welcoming you. Barbara is here, Tina is here, Karen is here. They're all going, "Hey Bert, hey Bert." Rita is here. Our Nikki is here. So I like what you're saying, the camaraderie and women if you're watching, and if you're watching in replay, please also comment when you are watching in replay. Because this is a conversation, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. So what I'm interested in is I haven't experienced too much camaraderie amongst women. Even with my close friends, we have some camaraderie, of course, because we're close friends. But in a sense of just being together, like you're saying, talking about different topics. So women, let me know if you have experienced or are experiencing this camaraderie, because we're here to share. Sharing is caring, and that way we support each other and lift each other up.
Well, I think one thing, as I mentioned earlier, Yasmina, kind of in our pre-talk, part of this camaraderie experience really is about just cooperation and collaboration, right? And it's really about building this sense of community where we just hang out and we support each other as men. Now, in full transparency, is every quote unquote locker room experience always so supportive? The answer really is no. Right? There are some locker rooms that are very toxic and very combative in many ways. Using a very masculine term, combative. You know what I'm saying? But more often than not, men are okay with just getting together just to watch a game, fellowship, and sometimes men have their own language with our right. We'll just get together and a grunt can say, "Hey, all right, brother, I get you, right." You know what I'm saying? Or hey,
you don't use too many words when you're coming together to watch a sports game. Probably we women, we will comment on everything that's happening on the field, right? So it's interesting that you're saying that, but you've got a particular language together. And what I noticed is that, at least for me, and listen, the bra experience is there just for my understanding as well, as I'm learning more about coming together as women, right? So what I miss maybe is you're coming together, how do you say it, with less complexity or something.
Right, less competition, less complexity.
There's no, except for the toxic environments. And to that point, I think it's really important that we choose who we surround ourselves with very carefully, so that it is a lifting experience instead of a toxic environment. But I feel that men are less complex coming together, where women, we always are looking at each other like, oh, she's looking good. Oh, she's been so successful because she's been over Facebook or social media. So we always are, the little voices in our heads are maybe more noisy than men, no? Or
I wouldn't go so far as to say that men are that simplistic, although we can be at times, more often than not. Don't necessarily whatever. But I do think that, when you find a supportive environment that's more communal and more collaborative, it really comes down to in the case of men, are you comfortable in your own skin and comfortable with who you are, right? And that may be a growth pattern of who you are, right? You need to just grow as a person, because I don't want to discredit that men still sometimes have this level of one-upmanship, right? You want to try to figure, hey, that man over there, that brother over there, he's driving a nicer car than I am, or he has a better looking, mate than I do. and different things. I don't want to act like that doesn't happen at times, but I do find that most men are okay with saying, hey, I'm going to stand on my own skin and be who I am. So I think if there's one piece of advice I would give to the ladies or women on your group, which is just the more comfortable you are with your skin and in your skin and who you are, and okay with that level of transparency with yourself first, then you're able to attract other women that are okay with who they are themselves and can support you as well there too. Like, so there isn't this level of like competitive nature in many ways right now. Granted, sometimes you need somebody to kick you in the tail who's gonna make you rise up. Granted, so you want people who are at a state in their lives that are going to encourage you to become the best version of yourself. So you don't necessarily want somebody who's always okay with the status quo, but you want to be okay that you are with people who are comfortable with who they are, which makes you comfortable with who you are, and together y'all can all grow together in many ways.
Exactly. I think that's again a very, very strong point, and it's something that we've been talking. The conversation are having around it. It's really being connected to your identity, right? And so I like what you're saying, because if you're confident, then you are more open to collaborations without being threatened that someone will steal your business or steal your whatever, or take your light away. So that's a really, really good advice. And I think we as women, there's so much pressure we put on ourselves of being perfect. We've got to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect CEO, the perfect entrepreneur, the perfect whatever.
Right.
And so that creates a stress where we are not opening our hearts anymore, because we're not connected to who we truly are and are feeling confident with ourselves.
Right.
I see that Barbara, and I'm curious, Barbara, if you can elaborate a little bit. You said, I've experienced camaraderie among women. Was that in your previous employment? Or because I can imagine, or did you experience it in other settings? Because I can imagine with the previous job you were doing, that the camaraderie had to be strong. You were like, we know Barbara Bert, so they were like, we have to stick together because it's life or death, right? So I'm just curious on that. Tina is saying men are definitely more comfortable with who they are and don't engage in the competition. That's my perception. Exactly.
Well, can I speak to that real quick, Yasmin? As I mentioned earlier, I don't, like I said, they're different. There's always extremes to every situation, right? So I don't want to assume that there aren't certain quote unquote locker room experiences that are very competitive. Think about sports, right? Think about, currently the NFL season is currently playing right now. So there are certain locker rooms that are going to be very competitive with it, right? And there are things, I believe there's healthy competition, and then there's toxic competition in many ways, right? So it's okay to have a little bit of competition, because you get around
because it pushes you to become better, to grow,
yourself, right?
Absolutely.
You're around other game changers, other gladiators that are doing more than you. The issue comes down where competition begins to define who you are by who you judge yourself against somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like you're less than because you don't have the same assets or skill sets as the brother or sister next to you, then that's where it becomes toxic. And now your identity is tied to how well you can beat somebody else versus being tied to you becoming the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
And that's where you have that toxic competition in many ways. So that's where I want to talk
about. Good one.
That.
That's a good one. What I also wanted to check with you, with the men, now that I have you here and I can pick your brain, do you think, of your experience, and it's just a hypothesis, so please comment in the thread, do you think that men are also, is it easier for men to ask for help, or to ask for a deal, or to ask for an opportunity, or to, you know what I mean, what I want to say? Do you think it's easier for men than for women? Because what I feel is that sometimes women, we think we have to do it alone with our superwoman cape. And I feel that with men, it's natural that you, of course, without the exceptions, we're not talking about the exceptions, but that for men, it's more like, no, together we can do much more. Maybe it's from the hunting period, you as men got together to go and grab a lion or something. You had to work together because otherwise the lion would eat all the men, right? Maybe Maybe it's that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, I think asking for help for different people can be easier for others and harder for some, right? I know in my personal life, the group of men I hang around with, and you've seen it on social media.
I saw it. Yeah, I love it.
Men that we get together 4 to 5 days a week, and we just run and exercise. We term the phrase fitness and fellowship, and because of who we know each other, asking for help isn't even an issue for the most part. We just, hey, what do you now? I do think men generally are more hardwired to ask for help when it comes to business dealing, when it comes to our professional assistance, when it comes to asking for help for emotional support. That's where from the ladies, you can really help us men. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a man would ask another man, hey, I need a professional contact. I need to help with a business deal. But that same man was talking to the other man and say, hey, I'm having issues with this emotionally in my life. Can you support me? That's where I think women have the upper hand, because we as
True.
men always be as open as another man for that level of emotional support. So it depends on the situation. But I do think when it comes to business and professional contacts, I don't see men having a problem asking another man for help.
So I'm just going to throw it in the group. So for all of you watching and watching the replay, let me know. Do you struggle with asking help on a business level?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first part of the question. And the second question, is it easy for you to ask for emotional support? I think we might be onto something, Bert. I think we might be onto something. I see that Barbara commented on the camaraderie with other women was limited on my former job as a detective. I worked mostly with male co-workers. True. Many times I may have been the only woman in the team. Okay. Got it, Barbara. Got it. So I think we might be onto something. So we might be easier as women to ask for emotional support, which goes back to way back in the time where we were making dinner and stuff while the men were out hunting,
Right.
and the other way around. So, what would your advice be on how to make it easier for women to ask support on the business side?
Now, are you talking about from the same gender or a different gender, or just in general overall?
In general, because I would prefer that we ask more of each other amongst women first, because that might feel safer. I don't know. But if it makes it easier for some women to ask help to males, I'm done with that. But I think in business, I think we have something to overcome there. And so I'm just looking at your perspective. What would your advice be to the women in the world, not only?
Well, I would say, regardless of whether your audience, who I said, as you told me, it's all women or mostly women who are asking for help in the business professional environment, which is this. First off, do you understand the value proposition you bring to the world, right? What is your value proposition? And be very comfortable with that. I think one of the things, if I would give advice to the ladies on this call, is that you all have a value proposition in a professional setting, whatever that skill set may be. And from that base foundation, you have earned the right to ask for help for different environments, and be willing to ask help of anybody, regardless of their gender. And also realize in that process, you may be told no. I've been told no myself as well there too. But you ask enough of the right people for the help you need professionally, you eventually will get the help you request going up. So if you're asking for a professional contact, if you're looking for a certain type of business contact, be okay to ask for that. But in the business world, and I've heard this phrase before, and I think it's very powerful. Business is relationships. Let's say that again. Business is relationships.
Someone type that in the comments, please.
So we generally like to do business with people who we know, we like, and we trust. I'm gonna say it again. We like to do business with people we know, we like, and we trust. So whether it is a network where it's mostly women, or whether network that's mostly men, or network that's mostly men and women, at the end of the day, people do business with who they know, they like, and they trust. So what I've encourage your audience is find ways to be relatable and be able to and connect with people in many ways. That doesn't mean you have to be everybody's best friend. That's not the terminology. That's not the goal. The goal is to be somebody that they can relate with. You have a commonality. You have a professional relationship or a semi-professional relationship. You can connect with them. And so that when you say, hey, Yasmina, you say, hey, Bert, I need a professional contact. If I had to choose between somebody I don't know, or somebody I do know, if I'm gonna go with the person I know and I like and I trust, right? For somebody who's a complete stranger, who all really is just based on just somebody who may have great credentials. So I would say, just get to know people, get to know yourself, and at the end of the day, the answer it becomes much easier to get what you want.
Exactly. So that's some great advice and insight, Bert. And I just want to recap what you have been saying. First of all, we need to become more comfortable with who we are.
Yes.
So that we become more comfortable with the value proposition we bring to the world. And more comfortable not with the value proposition in itself, but speaking it and putting it into the world and saying what we are good at and what our value proposition exactly is. So I like it. Being comfortable with that. That
Right.
has to do with the identity, which we talked about yesterday. And the power is in the network. So we might have a value proposition. We might feel comfortable with it. But if we don't connect with enough people and create a network, a support system where we can ask help, like, hey, this is what I'm putting down into the world. If you know someone, can you bring them to us? So, yeah.
Real quick, Yasmin, I know for the sake of time, but even as you're in the beginning, as you're building your network, you want to take everybody into your network. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. But as you get more seasoned or matured, as I would say with our right, you want to be mindful of who you want in your network. You can accomplish more with a smaller network than you can with a larger network, because the right connections to you can lead to many more doors being open than having 1,000 people you don't even know, and you just don't talk to them, right? And a network, and just take this to heart. This is something I want to leave you guys today with, is that a network needs to be nurtured. A network needs to be nurtured. Right?
So, someone type that in chat, please.
It could be somebody you met. I got professional contacts I met 2 or 3 years ago that I still don't really see that often. But every 6 months, I'll send a text message and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And heard from you in a while. Your name came across my cell phone contacts, and they may not mean a whole lot. But that person knows that if I ever need a request or they need something from me, at the end of the day, who's
exactly
going to answer first in many ways.
Yes, so we have to be careful that we don't look for the opportunities, but that we connect from the heart, so that people will learn to know us, will learn to trust us, and will know that even when there's no opportunity, we're still checking up on them, like, hey, how are you doing? Especially in the crisis we just came, or we climbing out of, hopefully. It's like, people thought that, I cannot call anymore to any of my prospects or network. I go like, of course, it's now more than ever the time to reach out to people and to show that you're not interested in the business, but also in the person behind the opportunity. So I like what you're saying.
So let me give. I'm sorry, Yasmin.
Go. You're on a roll, Bert. You're on a roll.
So let me give your audience an action item that will grow the network immensely, and it's real simple. 2 or 3 people a week, send a text message and say, "Hey, how you doing? Just checking on you." That's all you gotta say.
I love that action item, and let's put that as an action item for today. Put in the comments which 3 people. You don't need to tag them or whatever. Just name them with the first name. Which 3 people you will reach out to before the end of the week, and that means before Friday end of day. Yep. I like that. And the second action item, I like actions. And the second action is, I want you to start putting down in the comments, what is your value proposition? Start putting words to it and start speaking it out loud for us to see, for the world to see. So So those are the 2 action items. We've been touching so much, Bert. I'm gonna have to watch the replay myself to pick up the nuggets you dropped, because identity, value proposition, being comfortable with who you are, asking for help, and Barbara said it too, and you mentioned it. The only thing a person can say is yes or no, right? You must be okay with people saying no. And that's, I wrote an ebook on that. The fear of rejection is holding us back from what we want to achieve. And that's why we sometimes don't go full out. A no, it's never personal. Never. Right. Even in a personal context, it's never personal. It's just that you weren't a fit at that exact time for what the person was looking to hear for. Yes. And I always say it's a no. If we're talking to the right people, it's a no for now, right? If we're talking to our target audience, it's always a no for now. Eventually, they will come to you. So you have to, I like what you said, you must be okay when people say no. Yes. Because that's part of the game. And people say no more than we hear a yes, and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and can I add one more CTA to your group there?
We're the action people, Bert. We're the action people.
I mentioned the idea, and Barb mentioned the idea of yes or no's. Challenge your group to how many no's they're going to get this week.
Of the 3 people they're going to reach out to?
No. I ain't talking about how many.
In general.
Whatever their business is, how many people can they ask to support them, and how many no's can they get this week?
I love what you're doing. Okay, so 3rd action item. First action item was reach out to 3 people in your network and just ask them how they're doing. Just have a conversation with them, right? The 2nd action item is put into the comments, what is your value proposition? Listen, I don't want an essay of your value proposition. I want you to try to say it in 3 sentences, right? But make it precise. So value proposition. And then the 3rd one is by Friday, end of business. No, by Friday, when we do our 7 p.m. bra experience again, you let us know how many no's you have received this week. I'm curious. While reaching out for help, right? You have to ask someone for help. I love it. I love it. Yes, Tina, Bert is making us get out and ask and work. We know Bert likes it. So thank you so much, Bert, for joining us. Yesterday was fabulous with our Tina. This was awesome with you. You gave us a lot to think about, and I hope that the women in the tribe, but also outside in the world, learn to get comfortable with who they are. Because if we do, there's a lot of pressure that drops from our energy, and I think that's important.
Can I share some final comments for that, Yasmina? So I want to specific to the women in your audience and recognize that you are the queens that make the world turn around. You know, anybody ever doubt? As a man, I can tell from without 100% of a doubt, guarantee that you always set the temperature in any room you walk into. So I want you to cherish you, my queens. Cherish the fact that you have more power than you have within yourself. You may give yourself credit for, but recognize that you have the capacity to do more than you've settled for. And trust me, women make the world go around. So that's my final piece.
See you tomorrow, people. I'm not adding anything. Thank you so much, Bert. It was a pleasure and an honor that you joined me on this conversation, and I talk to you soon. See you all tomorrow, guys. Have a blessed day and a wonderful evening if you're at my part of the world. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.